As the NBA shifts towards bigger guards, there is no place for a player like Jalen Brunson. He is too short and unathletic. A player like this should be fighting for a roster spot, but instead, he has carried the iconic New York Knicks to the NBA Finals after 27 years. And he did it when nobody believed in him.
Jalen Brunson.
No, he's too small. If your best player is small, you're not winning. John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, you could go down the list.
Trading their first round pick away, and for what? To go all in hopes of signing Jalen Brunson?
The saddest sweepstakes ever. The Jalen Brunson sweepstakes. Is Jalen Brunson one of the 10 best point guards in basketball?
He's not as good as Doncic with the Lakers. He's not as good as Jokic with Denver. He's not as good as Wembanyama. He's not as good as Brown. He's not as good as Tatum. I'm not even sure if he's better than Cunningham. He's certainly not better than SGA. Defensively, too, I mean, he gets killed defensively.
At points in your career, you've been underestimated. Does that doubt motivate you?
On June 11th, 1999, the New York Knicks faced the Indiana Pacers for Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks were one win away from the NBA Finals, but their superstar, Patrick Ewing, was injured with a torn Achilles. Standing in their way were the second-seeded Pacers, featuring Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, and coached by Larry Bird. Meanwhile, the Knicks were only the 8th seed. The first 8th seed in history to reach a conference finals, but they were without their best player. What they did have was a proven ability to beat teams that were supposed to be better than them. In the first round, they knocked out the first-seeded Miami Heat. Then they swept the 4th-seeded Atlanta Hawks without breaking a sweat. And to everyone's surprise, the Knicks were about to do it again, becoming the first 8th seed ever to make it to the NBA Finals.
And NBA history has just been made. The New York Knicks are the first 8th seed to ever make the NBA Finals.
Part of the Knicks team was this guy, Rick Brunson. He was a role player, averaging just 2 minutes in the playoffs. But his contribution to the city of New York was this little guy, and his name is Jalen Brunson.
The love of basketball was evident to me, honestly, since the day I was born. I was always surrounded by it. I always wanted to play in the NBA, especially seeing my dad play. Being able to watch my dad and see the things that he was able to do. I think the older I got, the more I kind of had that drive to actually do it.
But the family name carried no guarantee of stardom. Jalen Brunson understood that early.
Don't slow up. No. Full speed. Here. Jump. Take you to your shot. Go.
He always used to ask me, is this what you want to do for a living? No matter what mood I was in, the answer was always yes.
Come on, here we go. Come on, let's go.
What comes to mind for you guys?
Trauma.
Good. Follow through though. Go back. Jog back.
Did you ever feel like you were pushing him too hard?
No, I never thought that. I would always talk to him and ask him, like, how bad does he want this? Like, how good do you really want to be? And his answer was like he wanted to be great.
By the time he got to Villanova, the work he had put in was ready to speak for itself. In 3 years, Brunson led them to 2 NCAA titles, and he swept every major National Player of the Year award in 2018. Brunson was absolutely dominant in college, with an almost instinctive chemistry with his teammates. Little did he know that he would cross paths with them again, and when they did, it would change everything. Every lesson he absorbed growing up around NBA locker rooms as a child was all showing up now on the biggest stage of his college career. While the Knicks became the first 8th seed to reach the finals, they were still 4 games away from the title. Waiting for them were the San Antonio Spurs and their twin towers, Tim Duncan and David Robinson. It was always going to be an uphill battle without Patrick Ewing, but in the end, it was San Antonio who would sweep them and lift their first ever NBA championship. After that miraculous run, the team that had defied every expectation slowly began to fall apart. For years, the Knicks ran multiple experiments, but they failed one after another. Despite being the most popular franchise in the league, the Knicks were slowly fading into irrelevance. Meanwhile, in 2018, Jalen Brunson was wrapping up his decorated college career. Along with team success, he also had accumulated a lot of individual awards. With absolutely nothing left to prove, Brunson decided to declare for the 2018 NBA draft. But despite everything he had accomplished, NBA scouts weren't convinced. They were sure that he was too small and unathletic for the NBA. This caused him to slip all the way down to the second round of the 2018 draft, where he ended up as a 33rd pick in Dallas. But there was a much bigger reason for Brunson's drop-off in the draft. In the early 2010s, analytics were reshaping how teams thought about spacing in the court. The three-point revolution stretched the floor, making it clear that you no longer needed a slow, immovable center anchoring your paint. What teams needed was size that could shoot, pass, and create. Coaches and front offices became obsessed with a backcourt tall enough to guard wings and forwards, yet skilled enough to initiate and run the offense. This thinking changed how kids were trained. A generation of tall players were taught to dribble, pass, and shoot from a young age. Every tall prospect was now being molded into versatile players. But for Jalen Brunson, this revolution came at a cost. Standing at just over 6 feet barefoot, analysts openly questioned whether he could survive switching onto modern wings without becoming an instant defensive liability. The 2018 draft was the perfect mirror of this moment. Front offices looked past Brunson's resume and drafted for other talented prospects who fit the new point guard archetype perfectly. Even the team that drafted him had doubts. Mark Cuban later revealed that Mavs scouts described Jalen as a little bit chubby, not quite as fast, and not super athletic. In Dallas, Brunson settled into a backup role behind Luka Doncic, averaging under 10 points and 3 dimes. In his first 3 years as a Maverick, he started for just 27% of their games, and mostly only when Luka was injured. Early into the 2022 season, with his contract expiring, Brunson's agent approached the Dallas front office with a team-friendly 4-year, $55 million contract extension. Dallas was thinking of Brunson as a potential trade piece, so they turned down the offer. Jalen's camp tried to renegotiate, but the Mavs simply rejected it again. Rejection was not new for Brunson, so he put his head down and focused on the season. New head coach Jason Kidd had a clear vision for him as the leader of the second unit. Kidd wanted a defensive-minded guard alongside Luka in the starting lineup. When Luka sat down, Brunson's elite playmaking would maintain the team's offensive rhythm. But on December 10th, 2021, Luka re-aggravated his left ankle against the Pacers, and that sidelined him for multiple weeks. 2 days later, Kidd put Brunson in the starting lineup against Oklahoma City. And that was all that Brunson needed.
Bursting into action, Brunson taking it all the way to the hoop, and with that, Jalen Brunson has his first basket of tonight's game. 3, Jalen Brunson.
Very comfortable on the perimeter. Brunson taking over right now in this third quarter.
A burst of 7 quick points by Jalen Brunson. Foul was just called on Darius Baisley. Into the shot clock. Brunson scooped to the hoop.
Right as Luka was recovering, he was placed into COVID health and safety protocols, extending his absence through the end of December. Over that 9-game stretch as a starter, Brunson averaged 21 points, 8 assists, and 3 rebounds, all with great efficiency. Jason Kidd could no longer justify putting him back on the bench. From that point on, Brunson started alongside Luka, giving Dallas a floor general and a secondary scorer, significantly taking the pressure off Luka. Dallas finished the season with 52 wins, heading into the playoffs as the 4th seed. But the first round was about to test everything they had built. Luka would go down with a calf strain, sidelining him for the first few playoff games. This forced Brunson to take the spotlight, a moment he was waiting for. But the Jazz knew exactly what to do. They collapsed into the paint every time Brunson touched the ball, taking away his favorite spots. Brunson still dropped 24 points, but it was a rough shooting night. Donovan Mitchell then took over, pouring in 30 of his 32 points in the second half to win it for the Jazz. Without Luka, Brunson didn't look quite ready. In Game 2, Dallas shifted into a strict small ball strategy to pull Gobert completely out of the paint. With the paint wide open, Jalen Brunson exploded for a playoff career high of 41 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists with 0 turnovers. The Mavericks weaponized their spacing to fire an astonishing 46% from beyond the arc. With the series tied, they were heading to Utah for Game 3. Jalen Brunson picked up right where he left off, dropping 31 points and 5 assists, carving up the Jazz drop defense at will. Brunson stepped up when it mattered most and saved Dallas from elimination. Luka returned for Game 4, and without hesitation, Brunson stepped back into his supporting role. The Mavericks closed the series out in 6 games. In the next round, Luka took over and demolished the 64-win Suns. Brunson contributed strongly throughout, doing exactly what was asked of him. But waiting for them in the Western Conference Finals were the seasoned Golden State Warriors. The Warriors dismantled Dallas, but even in defeat, Brunson held his own. Both Luka and Brunson were still young, and the future in Dallas looked very bright. That was before the Mavericks realized what they had done by not extending Brunson. Through the regular season and the playoffs, Brunson had ascended himself into a completely different conversation. Executives around the league had taken notice. The quiet backup, who Dallas had twice turned down for $13 million, now looked like a player worth $25 million a year at least. The Mavs could have easily retained him, but they rejected him twice. Meanwhile in Utah, Brunson's playoff performance had broken the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell was done with the franchise, and ownership began making calls to move their star. Mitchell had grown up in New York. Playing for his hometown team was a dream he had never let go of. On the other side of the country, Knicks president Leon Rose had been watching Utah's situation closely for years. But Mitchell wasn't the only player on his radar. Years ago, when Leon Rose was a young, rising agent just finding his footing in the league, his very first NBA client was Rick Brunson. The two built a strong friendship. Rose reportedly became Jalen Brunson's godfather, since he knew him since the day Jalen was born. The connection goes even deeper. Jalen Brunson's agent now is Sam Rose, who is the son of Leon Rose. Tom Thibodeau, the current head coach of the New York Knicks, was an assistant on that 1999 Knicks team that made the finals, the same team Rick Brunson played for. Rick later served as an assistant coach under Thibodeau during his stints with the Bulls and Timberwolves. With all these personal connections, I think we can all see where this is going. On June 2nd, 2022, the Knicks hired Rick Brunson as their assistant coach. 3 weeks later, on June 23rd, New York traded Kemba Walker, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, and multiple draft picks to Detroit, clearing $30 million in cap space overnight. 1 week after that, free agency opened at 6 p.m. on June 30th. Exactly 1 month after his father was hired, and within minutes of the free agency window opening, Jalen Brunson signed a 4-year, $104 million contract with the New York Knicks.
So you grow up watching your father play for the New York Knicks, and then you end up playing for the New York Knicks. Is that like a dream come true?
Can't really put it into words. It's pretty special. I just remember just being a kid and having Knicks stuff around. We still have old Knicks blankets from when he played, so it's pretty special.
But despite signing Brunson, instead of being excited, Knicks fans and media were not pleased.
Knicks fans are like, Jalen Brunson?
And for what? To go all in hopes of signing Jalen Brunson?
Come see Jalen Brunson as he scores 38 against the Wizards. He's not that kind of guy.
Is Jalen Brunson one of the 10 best point guards in basketball?
You're right. I don't think he's top 10.
I'm going to repeat. Jalen Brunson.
Is he one of the 40 best players in the league?
But at the end of the day, they don't have a dude. You got to have a dude. You got to have a 1A dude. And they're missing that.
They do have their dude.
Who?
Jalen Brunson.
No, he's too small. If your best player is small, you're not winning. John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, You could go down the list.
Do we think Brunson is a guy that is going to bring them to a second-round playoff series? He's not.
But the Knicks missed the playoffs entirely in 16 of the past 21 seasons. That's exactly what I'm saying, and Jalen Brunson isn't the answer.
But none of the noise bothered Brunson. It was his dream to play for the New York Knicks. He had spent his entire career being doubted and underestimated.
Too small, too slow.
I don't really care what the outside world thinks. It is what it is, what they think. But for me, it's just all about how can I get better, how can I be more consistent.
He's changed the outlook of the franchise.
You know, Jalen Brunson, he's stabilized this franchise, you know, and he's kind of transformed the franchise.
Brunson drives, pulls up three-pointer, puts it in. Jalen Brunson nails a three.
The Knicks come out of this season knowing one thing. They got themselves a star.
Nice feed to Brunson. His three. Stop. Jalen Brunson from downtown.
His elite pick-and-roll execution and masterful floater made him an immediate fan favorite. At the trade deadline, the Knicks reunited Brunson with his Villanova teammate Josh Hart. The chemistry was instant.
Here's Hart with the assist from his Villanova teammate, Jalen Brunson. Rebounded by Hartenstein. Knicks Pride Night presented by Delta Airlines. Here's Brunson from Hart. Brunson with a three, now has 15.
You got this guy now who's going to play 110% every possession, so he's big time.
Second chance opportunities, the hustle. Is this what Knicks fans can expect from you?
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to do whatever it takes. That's me. Like I said, all I got to say is I'm a dog, and I'm going to do it every game.
Welcome and congrats.
New York began winning games, jumping to 47 wins from the previous season's 37. By the end of his first year in New York, Brunson was averaging 24 points, 6 assists, and 3 rebounds. Across the board, he had improved on every single stat from his time in Dallas. Brunson silenced the remainder of his critics by leading the Knicks to their first playoff series win in a decade. Although they fell to the Miami Heat in the second round, Brunson cemented his status as the captain of New York by playing through a hand injury and dropping 41 points in a gutsy elimination game.
After we lost last year, I was a little devastated. Every season is a roller coaster. There's ups, there's downs, but it's how we manage it. After year one, I got to realize what basketball means to the city, what this fan base is really about. It's got me really excited for year two, ready to come in here and get ready to work.
The very next season, New York added another piece of the Villanova puzzle, signing Donte DiVincenzo.
Donte is a very well-rounded player. He's another player that will do what the game has asked of him.
He can do anything you need. He can defend the best player. He takes pride in it. Shoot the ball at a high clip. He's able to play make. Yeah, he's gonna be really good for us.
The Villanova connection was now all over the roster, and it showed. DiVincenzo shattered the Knicks' single-season franchise record, knocking down 283 three-pointers.
So what's it like playing with the guys you went to college?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really cool thing to be a part of, and not many people can say they can have this one teammate in college on the team. So the fact that I got more than just one, it's pretty cool.
Then, in December, New York made a move that addressed their biggest weakness, trading for OG Anunoby from Toronto, a defensive force who could guard anyone on the floor. Jalen Brunson finally had a competent team around him. He responded by taking an even bigger leap this year, averaging nearly 29 points, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds, all with great efficiency. Brunson went nuclear this season, scoring 9 40-point games, a 50-point performance, and then a 61-point career high game. For the first time in his career, he was named an All-Star and All-NBA, finishing 5th in MVP and Clutch Player of the Year voting. The Knicks jumped to 50 wins. The Villanova experiment was working. With Julius Randle sidelined through injury, Brunson carried the entire offensive load on his own shoulders. Against the Sixers in the first round, he averaged 35 points and 9 assists for the series, becoming the first player in NBA history to record 40 points and 5 assists in 4 consecutive playoff games. He closed out Game 4 with a career-high 47 points, then came back in Game 6 with 41 points and 12 assists, closing the series in 6 games. In the second round, New York faced the Indiana Pacers. Despite suffering a right foot injury early in the series, Brunson continued to score 39 points in a Game 2 win and 43 points in a Game 5 victory. But Brunson had to leave the final game early because he fractured his hand, and the Knicks would be eliminated in Game 7. 2 seasons earlier, the entire league had written him off as a small, unathletic guard without a promising ceiling. While he had just carried a shorthanded team through one of the most dominant individual playoff runs in recent memory. But that raises a real question. How does Brunson do it? Especially in an era built around tall guards who can practically play all 5 positions. Brunson's superpower is how fast he can stop, forcing a longer defender to sprint and match his pace. Then, in an instant, he slams on the brakes. Tall defenders are heavier with longer legs, so their own momentum becomes their enemy. It carries them flying right past Brunson. By the time they recover, Brunson is already standing wide open. When he gets into the paint, he doesn't rush at all. Defenders are wired to block shots, but Brunson exploits that impatience masterfully. His footwork baits them into jumping too early, and the moment that giant defender is airborne and helpless, Brunson steps underneath for the finish. But perhaps his most underrated weapon is his body itself. Brunson is a stocky guard with low center of gravity. Where tall guards are often top-heavy, Brunson is grounded. And rather than shying away from contact to protect his shot, he invites it. He drives his shoulder directly into a defender's chest. By the time the defender is still trying to reset, the ball is already off his fingertips. That physical edge is exactly what makes his mid-range game so lethal. In an era obsessed with length, Brunson found a way to make his compactness a lethal weapon. In the 2024 offseason, Jalen Brunson was eligible to sign a massive maximum contract for the next 5 years. Every cent of it justified for the man who carried New York on his back. But money was never why he came here. Brunson had a dream. The same dream that had lived in the hearts of New Yorkers since that 1999 finals run. And now, he was actually close enough to make that a reality. Brunson understood that a maximum contract would eat into the salary cap for years, making it nearly impossible to build a championship roster around him. So, in July 2024, he signed for $156 million instead, leaving $113 million on the table. Most players just talk about putting the team first, but Brunson walked away from $113 million because winning meant more to him than stacking money. The front office wasted no time. With 3 Villanova players already thriving in New York, there was a 4th nearby who wanted in. Mikal Bridges had privately made it clear that he wanted to play for the Knicks alongside his college teammates. New York wanted him too. Every time they added a Villanova player, the team chemistry improved, and so did their wins. But there was just one problem. Mikal Bridges played for the Brooklyn Nets, the Knicks' crosstown rivals. The 2 franchises never do business. Bridges directly went to the Nets front office and made it clear that he would not sign an extension with anyone else except New York. Brooklyn's GM Sean Marks was left with a simple choice: deal him to the Knicks or watch him walk for nothing like the Mavs. He chose the former.
I'm excited to be here, excited to be a Knick. Listen, I just want to win, and I know the things I got to do. Excited to get to work.
It cost New York a massive package of players and draft capital, but they got their wing. The trade was the first between the Knicks and the Nets since 1983. The Villanova connection was now complete. The 2016 and 2018 NCAA champions were reunited in New York, but the Knicks starting center Isaiah Hartenstein decided to leave the team in free agency. With backup Mitchell Robinson already sidelined from surgery, the Knicks had no choice but to acquire a big man. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, the front office realized that if they keep Karl Anthony Towns, it would be impossible to retain the other important pieces they needed around Anthony Edwards. Cat didn't want to leave, but New York needed a center. The Knicks structured a straightforward deal around Julius Randle and draft capital. But unfortunately for New York, Minnesota had a player they were pursuing for over a year. An elite three-point shooter who could space the floor next to Edwards. They wanted Dante DiVincenzo. The Knicks didn't want to break up the connection that they had built, but their hand was forced.
Blockbuster, y'all. The Knicks have acquired Karl-Anthony Towns from Minnesota for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo in the first-round pick. I feel bad for Karl-Anthony Towns, right? We basically just watched Karl-Anthony Towns grow up in Minnesota. It will be weird to see him in the Knicks jersey.
I'll never forget. Where were you? I was at the house. I was at my house in Minnesota. It was crazy. I had seen everybody. I had worked out Friday morning at the practice facility. And I was like, we got to enjoy this last calm Friday, calm day before, Monday's media day. It's already Friday afternoon. Like, we got to enjoy these moments, these last moments of calm. I thought I would have till Sunday at least, but I'm getting a call that, Tim wanted to come to the house to drop something off. And I was just like, well, we'll just drop it off on Sunday. We have team dinner anyway. And he was like very adamant that he wanted to come see me at the house. He's like, yeah, man, we traded you to New York. And I remember my dad said, what? My friend walks out the room like, wait, everyone's shocked. I'm still stunned. But yeah. I was just, you had such a career in Minnesota. We just came off making the Western Conference Finals. I've been blessed to be with Minnesota in the bad times and the great times. And now we're at the great times. And, your Timberwolves tenure just gets cut out of nowhere.
After that trade, New York finally looked like a contender, a roster built around depth and length. All of it made possible because Brunson had walked away from $113 million to give his team a chance.
Just excited for a new chapter, expecting unexpected, really. You never know what's going to happen.
I feel like this team has the belief in each other. We got to put the work in. We're not just going to get back to where we were.
Join me today as we welcome the 36th captain in Knicks history, Jalen Brunson.
I'm comfortable here. This is home for me.
I'm just going to be the best version of myself. And like I said, just continue to amplify my teammates and be the best teammate I could be on and off the courts.
Unfinished business, using it as motivation to come back better.
Yeah, opening night's always crazy at the Garden. Sold out crowd.
You feel the atmosphere. It's time to go.
Brunson picked up exactly where he left off, averaging 26 points and 7 dimes, leading the Knicks to 51 wins as a third seed in the East. He was named the 2025 Clutch Player of the Year and secured another All-Star and All-NBA selection. In the playoffs, he turned it up yet again, with 30 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds a night, shooting at an elite percentage throughout the run. The Knicks pushed all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, where they ran into the Indiana Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton was on a phenomenal run the entire playoffs that was impossible to stop, and New York simply couldn't get over the line.
A lot of people saying we couldn't do a lot of things, a lot of negativity around what we were trying to accomplish, and the way we just kind of put blinders on and went to work. That's what I'm most proud of with this team.
Jalen, in terms of what Kat just said, you make the moves to win. There are obviously a lot of big moves this offseason. How confident are you that this group has enough to take that next step?
The most confidence, overconfident. Seriously, there's not an ounce of any type of doubt that I'm not confident with this group.
Just 3 days after elimination, the Knicks fired their longtime coach, Tom Thibodeau. The front office cited his rotations as a key factor in their postseason exit. Knicks hired Mike Brown to be their new head coach. Brown was fired by the Sacramento Kings in a very bitter way in 2024. He was driving to the airport for a road game against the Lakers when the Kings called to tell him he was fired. What made that even harder to justify was that in 2023, Mike Brown became the first coach in NBA history to win the Coach of the Year award unanimously. Coach Brown arrived in New York with a chip on his shoulder, and so did Brunson. His post-game optimism after the Pacers series had been heard across the league, and now he had to back it up. By December 2025, the Knicks were dominating the NBA Cup, with Brunson averaging 33 points and 6 dimes, while shooting a staggering 60% from the field. New York powered their way to the NBA Cup Finals in Las Vegas, facing the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs were a young, inexperienced team, projected to win 44 games at best. But San Antonio was on a historic run all season, beating teams nobody expected them to beat, including the almost unbeatable defending champions. But New York was well prepared.
New York Knicks will capture the third installment of the Emirates NBA Cup as they celebrate on the floor.
This was Coach Brown's first NBA Cup, but winning was not new to him. As an assistant coach, he had won 4 championships, 3 with Golden State and 1 with San Antonio. He is the only person in NBA history to have coached Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Steph Curry across his career. Every team he inherited as a head coach had missed the playoffs the year before, but made the postseason under his watch. Mike Brown knew exactly what he was doing. And this team, with everything they had sacrificed and everything they still had to prove, was just getting started. The Knicks kept their momentum rolling through the rest of the season. They secured 53 wins, another improved record, and yet another playoff berth secured as the 3rd seed. Brunson finished the regular season averaging 26 points and 7 dimes once again. For the 3rd straight year, he was named an All-Star and All-NBA. Every season since he signed with New York, the Knicks had made the playoffs. Not once had he let his city down. The first round matchup of the 2026 playoffs was against Atlanta. On paper, it looked like a comfortable series for New York. Game 1 went exactly as expected. The Knicks were in control from the opening tip. But in Game 2, McCollum began hunting Brunson on the defensive end, exploiting his size.
CJ takes Brunson on a dance. McCollum, the silencer, steps back for a 3 and a chance on blue. McCollum on Brunson. McCollum wants the matchup, goes to work, couple of crosses. McCollum with a basket, makes it home. Atlanta has the lead.
CJ went on to score 32 points, and Atlanta walked out of Madison Square Garden with a win, tying the series. Most people brushed it off as a hot shooting night. Nothing to worry about. But in Game 3, CJ picked up right where he left off. He went straight at Brunson every chance he got, exposing the same defensive weaknesses over and over again. The Knicks fought back hard in the final minutes, clawing their way back into the game. But with 15 seconds on the clock, CJ McCollum decided to take over.
Are you going to be able to rebound?
Get it in. McCollum fires. Hawks take the lead.
Brunson had not been himself in Games 2 and 3, but he had the reputation of being clutch. He was known as a closer. So with the chance to redeem himself, Brunson took matters into his own hands.
It's down to the wire here in Game 3. 7 seconds left. Brunson with the ball. Brunson makes his move. Brunson on the baseline. Hawks got to track it down. They got it now. Kuminga. It's over. The Hawks hold on. Atlanta takes a 2-1 lead in the series.
The New York Knicks just lost 2 straight games in the very first round against a mediocre Atlanta team. But in the following games, New York responded by throwing elite defenders like Josh Hart and OG on CJ to deny him of any clean looks. This strategy worked, and New York began winning games, followed by a Game 6 demolition.
Well, the Knicks will advance to the second round for the 4th straight year, courtesy of one of the most dominant performances in NBA playoff history. In a game they led by as many as 61, they win by 51.
Everyone expected Boston in the second round.
And Embiid wins the battle. And for the first time in franchise history, the Philadelphia 76ers have come back from 3-1 down. They take out the number 2 seed in the East, and the process is moving on to the second round.
Against the Knicks, that same Philadelphia team ran out of gas. New York swept them without breaking a sweat and marched into the Eastern Conference Finals. where they faced the Cavaliers, led by Donovan Mitchell, the same player Brunson demolished in 2022 that made him want to leave the team. The same player the Knicks had tried to pair with Brunson back in 2022, but Utah's asking price was too high for the Knicks. So the Cavs swooped in immediately. The Cavs came to New York off the back of a grueling Game 7, but instead of looking exhausted, they silenced the Garden from the opening tip. Cleveland built a 21-point lead deep into the fourth quarter. The game looked over until Brunson showed up.
It only takes a couple of shots to put that pressure back on the Cavaliers.
Scoop layup is good. Beautiful shot from Brunson. Fakes, drive, gets inside, pull-up jumper, got it. Knicks have suddenly scored 9 in a row.
The Garden erupted once again, and we could see the Villanova connection thrive.
Merrill's on in, Brunson gets inside, kicks it out in the corner to Bridges. Shot clock at 4. Bridges looking, shot clock at 1. Bridges puts up a 3, puts it in! It's back to a 4-point game, a 22-4 run.
The same Cavs team that had been in complete control 5 minutes ago now looked lost. With 30 seconds remaining, the ball found its way into the captain's hands.
James Harden with a huge bucket. Back to a 2-point lead, 26 seconds remaining.
Don't want to give up a 3.
Brunson with Harden on him. Brunson on the drive, the floater, bank shot, it's good. Tie game again with 19.
With that shot, the game went into overtime. But just like the previous 5 minutes, Cleveland had nothing left to give, and the Knicks took Game 1. Unfortunately for the Cavs, the Knicks would carry on their dominance for the following 3 games, sweeping yet another postseason opponent. But for the Knicks, this would be history.
Here to present the Bob Cousy Trophy to the Eastern Conference champion New York Knicks, 2-time champion and Hall of Famer Walt Clyde Frazier, and Hall of Famer and Knicks all-time leading scorer Patrick Ewing. And the winner of the Larry Bird Trophy, the 2026 Eastern Conference Finals Most Valuable Player, Jalen Brunson.
Hey Jalen, it's Patrick. If someone told me the young boy running around the Garden would grow up to be the captain of the New York Knicks, you know what? I'd probably believe them. Even as a kid, you could connect with anyone around you. And the confidence, you'd walk up to anyone in that locker room and say just about anything. You're a born leader. And like Mike Breen said, you were born to play basketball.
Jalen Brunson, born to play basketball.
I mean, it means a lot, but I wouldn't be here without my teammates. The belief they had in me, this coaching staff, this organization, this fan base. I mean, without them, none of this is possible.
At no point of time did anyone believe this team to be in the NBA Finals.
For you personally, you know, your dad obviously was a Knick, and you came here at a time when the franchise wasn't in the greatest of spots to see where they are now, and the fact that you've kind of led the way for someone who kind of grew up part of his childhood in the area to kind of be the face of this reemergence.
I think first and foremost it means a lot that the belief that the organization has in me, from Mr. Dolan down to Leon, Wes, coaching staff, and obviously my teammates. And it's something I haven't really put into perspective and thought about, because as I said before, now we're still writing our story. And so I think in due time I'll be able to answer that in full entirety. But I like the journey that we're on right now.
At points in your career, you've been underestimated. Does that doubt motivate you?
It motivates me a little bit, but I think I'm more focused on trying to prove myself right that I belong, prove myself right that I deserve the opportunity. I've earned the right to be here, earned the right to do the things that I do. Just turn everything into kind of positive talk and reinforcement. That's just how I feel, and hopefully remembered as a winner as well.
History has a funny way of circling back. 27 years later, it is the San Antonio Spurs once again standing in the way of a Knicks championship. The last time these two met on the biggest stage, San Antonio tore them apart. These Knicks, though, are different. They have already handled the Spurs team in a high-stakes game this season, in the NBA Cup Finals a few months ago. San Antonio's youth and inexperience was there for everyone to see. But the Spurs just dismantled the defending champions, who looked impossible to beat. Oh, and also, they have someone that no team in NBA history has ever had before. But here's the thing about Wemby. He gets better when he has something to prove. If the West Finals taught us anything, it's that you do not give this man extra motivation. OKC was the best team in the league, and SGA was crowned as the back-to-back MVP right before Game 1. Wemby took that as a personal challenge, and the rest was history. But there was one single interview that completely shifted the MVP conversation in Wemby's direction. I went deep into that story in detail. That video is on your screen right now.